This is a conversation over dinner. You're meeting up with a friend for a few drinks. You're having a bowl of whatever the hell they've suggested from their place, and we're having a conversation. Right. That's about it. Very simple, very straightforward.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I listened to the first one that you did. So like, I got a pretty good idea of like the format and like how you want to do it. I just wanted to make sure that like, there isn't any specific thing or, just make sure there's no.
The reason I started this podcast
parameters.
No, I would never restrict somebody. The reason I started this podcast was I always had a dinner table experience, even though I was raised by a single mom. I had the dinner table experience of we come, at a certain time, you come down for dinner, you talk for about, 20 to 40 minutes, and then you clean up and you call it a day. So I was raised with that, and I was lucky enough to be raised with that. But a lot of people didn't have that. They weren't lucky enough to have that dinner table experience, and that's kind of what I'm trying to bring to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. I guess. Are we live?
I mean, I've been recording, but we can just start it. Hello, welcome to Dinner at Mesrick's. Today, we are eating chicken Paprikish. He'll pronounce it in a second. I didn't botch it, but it doesn't look good, but it tastes fucking amazing. I did a simmer thing. I found out that simmering is just boiling but edging. So I don't normally simmer things. It's either boiling or not. So, and I had a really big Dutch oven that I used for it. So it worked perfectly. Okay, the chicken is amazing. Yeah. It doesn't look seasoned, but I know it's all the flavors in there,
Yeah, have you tried it yet?
I'm waiting for the chicken. I did drink a little bit of the sauce, but I'm going to eat a little bit of the chicken right here.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Oh my God. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. All right, before I devour this entire dish, Swerve, how the fuck are you doing?
I am doing all right, man. How about yourself?
A lot better. We're working on confidence booster and everything, but where are you working? You still working at the plant?
No, I left the warehouse. And now I'll cook. So I just cook food.
So this is a second nature to you. You sent me a whole list of things I had to look up how to do it because I was like, I don't know how to put this shit together.
Sure, yeah. So I originally thought, I was like, oh, wow, I'm going to just give them the recipe and then we'll, cook it together or something like that. I wasn't sure how it went down, but like, it's pretty straightforward. For everyone who doesn't know, the dish that Mesrick is eating is called chicken Paprikish. It's a little bit of Americanized version of the recipe that I gave him, but it's basically a simmered chicken, almost stew-like dish. The name suggests, it is seasoned with paprika. That is a Hungarian spice. Hungarians were pretty much the first people to use that spice, and that's a big part of their culture. I am Hungarian.
Okay, I was wondering. I was like, okay, is this just out of nowhere, or?
Yeah. So my mom is the firstborn American citizen
of your Hungarian family.
So I'm second generation American, technically, and these recipes. America just melting pots everything.
Yes.
And, so there's no, traditionally, you're eating it on a bed of egg noodles.
Yes.
And traditionally it would be served with spätzle.
What is spätzle? It said traditional German spätzle. It had it italicized. No additional information.
Yeah. So it's it's like a noodle.
Okay.
A little bit heartier, but that's the best way to explain.
Because I can't stop eating, and I'm really glad that you've been talking, because I am just shoving this full into my face. Yeah. Was this something you grew up with, or was it something that you had a couple times and then you edited it as you were an adult? You're like, oh, I want to try this shit out again.
Well, so I have a cookbook that my grandma gave me.
No way.
I actually got it right here. Literally, it's called the Hungarian Cookbook, and let's see, the copyright is 1954.
Bro,
all the pages are yellow, and it's a very old book. That is where I've found a big majority of those recipes. We ate a lot of goulash and paprika and stuff like that growing up.
Did you grow up with your grandma in the house?
I very much was at my grandma's probably a lot of my childhood.
Okay.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time over there, and that was actually a really big like safety net for me. So yeah, I mean, my mom and dad, they were what, 18 and 17 when they had me.
Oh wow! So you were a very young child.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Well, and so I'm the product of my rock star dad and my mom, and they were he's in metal bands. A lot of my earliest memories are like me being at like the local bars and just like being around music and always going out to the garage and listening to my dad play. That was a pretty big foundation for like me as who I am as a person. But that also comes with its own set of difficulties.
I can only imagine. Rockstar dad.
Yeah, exactly. So being over at my grandma's was just like a sense of stability and, non-revolving door. Well, literally and figuratively. I think I counted it up like a couple years ago. I think I sat around and counted up like exactly how many houses I had lived in.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was like 46 or something like that.
When you were very young.
Just like, yeah, like just moving around all over the place. Like that. Love my mom and dad to death, but 17 and 18.
That's rough.
know what it was like when I was 17 and 18. And thought of having to raise not just me, but a month later after they had me, she got pregnant with my sister. And boom, another 9 months goes by and my sister's born. So, they had 2 kids within 2 years. We're only 10 months apart. Having 2 kids at, 18, 19 years old, I can only imagine, what that's like. So, that's, my grandma's was very much a place of like comfort. I spent a lot of my childhood with my grandma, my aunts and uncles.
So you were influenced by music. That's why you're Swerve City, which is from what band again?
Actually, the name of a Deftones song.
It's the name of Deftones song. So very much a child of punk, if you were.
Yeah.
So with all of that, did you learn how to cook from her, or did you just know how to cook and then have always kind of had that innate? Because I know you always were in the kitchen, but I never really knew if you were just like throwing eggs together,
Yeah, sure. Like, again, like, wow, it really sounds like I'm just like trashing my parents here.
No,
like,
this is a genuine place, bro.
Yeah, both of them are okay cook. I guess putting it nicely.
My mom always says she's a competent cook, not a confident cook. She's got a couple recipes she knows she can nail, but, my stepdad does the cooking.
Yes. My mom could probably find a way to fuck up jar spaghetti and some noodles.
Okay.
So, cooking for me was just something that I like had to learn how to do. And like, I growing up, like in my teenage years, yes, I was definitely like pretty damn poor. There's always somebody that's going to have it worse or better or whatever. But
realistically,
yeah. And so cereal was a big staple in my diet.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I like moved out and was on my own that like I really kind of had to like learn how to cook.
When did you move out?
Tired of eating fucking Chef Boyardee. Well, I got kicked out at like 17 or something like that.
Right at the cusp.
I don't know. It was a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, we're old, bro.
Yeah. You're only as old as you feel. I feel pretty young still, so that's good.
So with that instability, now that you're in a more stable part of your life, talk to me about it. I want to hear about your girl. How'd you meet her? I want to hear about, I know you're doing this business. You were talking something about it. I want to hear about it. My buddy got really into disc, hurt himself doing disc. So I know that the disc is life. So tell me about that. Tell me about your girl. Tell me about your life. Tell me where or general area where you're staying at. Have you been there for a while?
Yeah. So I'm from Michigan. I was born here in Michigan. I lived in Texas.
Oh God.
Like as a little kid. Then moved back up here, and I've pretty much been in Michigan ever since. I live in Lansing right now. I absolutely hate it. I used to live in Grand Rapids. I lived there for about 4 years, and then I came back, and it was after like a previous relationship had gone sour.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of moved back, got closer to the family, closer to like, my A1 day ones. So yeah, Lansing right now in the moment. The fiance now.
Oh my God, this is
Pretty crazy. Never really thought I would see myself in the position I'm at now, but here we are.
You look stoked, and she also looks stoked. She doesn't look like she's kidnapped. Very important in pictures,
Very important. Yeah. Yeah. Probably one of the more important things.
I think it's top five.
Yeah, easily. So yeah, we actually met, what was it, Hinge?
No way, Hinge boy, let's go, dude.
Yeah. In the midst of my city boy summer, I just so happened to like meet her, and we went out on a date. It was just super easy to talk to her. We both had very like similar childhoods and upbringings, and we just kind of never stopped
hanging out. You never stopped hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, she's still here. Like,
yeah, exactly. So we've been going pretty strong. Yeah.
You got engaged recently, right?
Yeah, last December.
Okay. And are we just kind of waiting? Oh, sorry to interrupt. What were you saying?
No, you're good. Yeah, we got engaged on Christmas Day of last year.
How'd you do it? How'd you set it up?
Well, I was going to do it on her birthday, because her birthday is like a couple weeks before Christmas.
For sure.
I was going to do it on her birthday, and basically, long story short, the ring didn't show up on time.
Oh no!
Got delayed. So I had the whole thing set up. For those who are familiar, downtown Detroit has a ice skating rink in smack dab in the middle of the city center.
Really?
And it's really cool, really like the lights and the buildings. The whole let it snow thing. I personally fucking can't stand snow, but it is what it is. Pretty magical if you like that kind of stuff. But I was planning, taking her down to the ice skating rink, and, I'm a pretty good skater. Not the best, but, I can maneuver around. But I pretty much, I had it all planned out, we're going to do a couple laps and blah blah blah, and then and boom type of thing, and it didn't show up on time, so I couldn't do it. So that whole plan got scratched, and I had like less than a week to think of a plan B, because I didn't think of a plan B. So I like mulled over a couple of ideas. Eventually I just kind of was like, I think I'm kind of like overcomplicating this, like. So I, waited till Christmas Day. I told her that, I left your present at your sister's house. We got to drive over there. It's just a couple blocks away. So we got in the car and, started driving, and we stopped the first place, which was the place that we went on our first date at. And, just explained to her that, look, this is the first place that we dated. Ha ha ha. Then I drove her to the second place that we went and dated on our second. I was like, this is where we went on our second date. Then I, eventually, like after a couple different stops, I eventually took her to Michigan State's campus. There's like a tower there called the Beaumont Tower.
Yeah. Kind
of like their iconic feature, I guess.
Yeah, they have one at Berkeley.
Sure. Yeah. So she, she's an MSU graduate. So, I just figured that'd probably be a better place than any. She was graduating that spring. So, I bring it full circle, make her experience the university a little bit more than just going to school.
Yeah.
So, I just figured that was probably the best place. Yeah. Just pop down right there in the middle of the snow and like, hey, will you marry me?
In the snow. Oh my God. I'm not crying, you're crying. Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. you know, as much as I hate the winter, like I got a picture of it. You know, I set the phone up all nice and reenacted the whole thing, and you know, got a good picture out of it. So like, you know, that's cool. It looks cool. I was cold, but
it was cold
cool,
as fuck, but
yeah.
knee down in the snow, you're like, why'd I wear jeans, man? Why'd I wear jeans?
Nah, sweatpants only, man. You gotta stay warm in these here parts.
Oh yeah, y'all got the long johns going on.
Oh yeah.
That's fucking amazing. So that's we're starting that off. That's beautiful. How long have you been dating before?
Bro, I don't know, like 3 years, 4 years. Like, I forget about half the shit I fucking say half of the time anyways. So, you know, I don't really keep track of that kind of stuff anymore. Like, you know, I frankly, all I need to remember is our anniversary and like
that's the
certain
only
birthdays.
Yeah, those three things, you're pretty much golden.
Yeah, that's what I feel. That's exactly how I feel. You know, like saying, I don't know, there's not enough RAM up here in my brain to, you know, kind of remember all those details.
So speaking of burnt, I was going to go on to the productive thing. Let's go back to the more productive thing. How have you been since you've quit smoking weed? I'm super proud of you. It's one of the few things that I'm like, God fucking damn it, this kid's killing it right now. Because like you're, you know.
Yeah, I like, you know, I mean, thanks. You know, I don't like or dislike that. And I'll be honest with you, I had no actual legitimate reason for stopping smoking, and I guess like I justify it by, oh, it costs too much money, but like I also spend a lot of money on Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and so like, you know, where do you want to waste your money, I guess?
No, 100%. So you're kind of just neutral about it. You just
like, well, now don't get me wrong, like just because I don't smoke doesn't mean I don't like agree with a lot of the things and benefits like it does provide to some people.
Yeah.
You know, for instance, like way back in the day, I was hanging out at the dispensaries and stuff like that. I had a uncle who worked at one, so you know, we're hanging out and smoking and blah blah. And we had this patient there, and it was medical marijuana. So you had to actually have like a reason to be in these places. But so she had like gum cancer.
Oh.
In her like mouth, gum.
Yeah.
And she basically like she would come up in there every week, and you know, she told us this whole story, and you know, we're like, damn, that's really fucked up. And she's like, yeah, so, you know, I'm just whatever. I'm refusing chemo and I'm not taking anything. The only thing I'm going to do is just take this Rick Simpson oil and rub it on my gums because I heard it might work. You know, sure as shit, fucking however many weeks, months later, she comes back and is just like, guys, it's gone. What? And we're just like, wait, what? What? What did you just say? Like, and yeah, she's just like, it's gone. It's just gone. It went away. I don't know. Like, so I mean, you know, take it for what it is, but like, it's a pretty good thing that she did that, right? But you know, also on the flip side of it, you know, there's people like, you know, like me. I'm all or nothing kind of guy.
Yes.
At like the peak of me smoking, probably about, you know, an ounce a week, about $200 back in the day.
Yeah. You
know, for everybody who wants to brag about getting your ounces for $50. Yeah, I could do that too back in fucking 2008.
Yeah, no, it's a different time, sir.
And Mexican brickweed, and we might have been picking out an eighth of actual ants out of the weed. But, you know, like, we could do it too. We could do it too back then. You know, but anyways, you know, $200 a week, that's what? 2, 4, 6, 8, $100 a month? Like, seriously?
Out the door, no question. Out the door, like, no question.
Yeah, what, just to just to get a little fucking stoned. I mean, I just, it's just one of those things where it just didn't, I don't know, like, I just kind of was over it. I started probably when I was like 13 or so, kept going the whole way. And, I just don't, one day I was just like, I don't know. I'm just like, stopped.
Yeah, I remember when you popped into chat after you'd done it for a couple of months, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, bro? You trying to burn? Like, let's do something and let's smoke some." And you're like, "I quit smoking." I went, "What?" You're like, "Yep, too expensive." "Oh, you good?" You're like, "Yep, I'm fine." And it was just weird because I was like, either he's in denial, because I was very deep into Wombo juice at that point. Steel Reserve and orange juice, bro.
Wombo juice. Yeah.
Steel Reserve. Every time I describe the Wombo juice, people go, "Why would you do that to yourself?" and like, no, bro, but I was, and then it got worse, the drinking, whatever, everyone knows about it. But when you quit smoking weed, I was like, damn. And then, you kicked off everything. Did you start disking to fill the void of, I guess not void of weed, because you didn't, it was an impartial decision realistically, but did you start disking because you're like, I should probably pick up a hobby? Or had you been disking and then you're like, I can get really balls deep into this?
No, I used to. So I first started playing disc golf, I don't know, like 2016.
Okay.
Something like that now. When I started, it was very much just, hey, let me go out and, hang out with the homies and, walk through the woods and get fucking stoned.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I had no idea what I was doing, and actually the first time I ever went and threw a disc, my buddy gave me a disc and he's like, oh, you just throw it like this, man. And I'm like, yeah, cool. And just yeeted it straight into the middle of the lake. He had just bought it too. So and this was in like early March. So our winter season pretty much is still in effect.
Yes.
At that point, like there was still ice chunks in the lake and everything. This guy strips down to his just shorts and just goes right out in there and like damn near dies for $10 piece of plastic. So that was a pretty fun little memory. But yeah, I used to equate the two together very much. It wasn't until I really moved out to Grand Rapids that I really started taking it kind of more seriously and realizing that there was like a pretty good competitive scene out there, naturally competitive. Played sports, played basketball, played football.
Expert raider.
So I like the competition, and being a solo sport, it's really about you versus the course. It's not you playing against other players, it's you trying to beat the course. And I really, thought that was just awesome. So, I pretty much, there wasn't any kind of, oh, well, if I quit smoking, I can play more. And,
you never set yourself up an ultimatum with it. It just occurred.
No. Yeah. And look, man, it happens to some people, and some people can do it and some people can't do it. And, it's totally fine if people want to continue smoking. I think it has tons of health benefits, tons of like mental benefits, tons of everything. It's just, I just don't want to, I guess. Like, I don't really know how to explain it.
What's still funny is you still have the burnt vibe without the brain misfunction. You know what I mean? So like you're still.
I don't know about that.
No, I'm just saying you have the execution, but you still have that. Yeah, bro, you sound like a Californian, but I guess that's a person who's been smoking weed since they were young and in Michigan. Like.
Yeah, I think a part of it is ingrained into you, like. I mean, yeah, even though I don't smoke, everywhere I've ever worked, every job, every friend I've meet for the first time, hey, man, you want to go burn one, dude? I'm like, hey, I don't actually smoke, man. And they're like, wait, what?
You sound high as fuck, though.
There's no fucking way. Like, you look stoned already. I'm like, yeah, no, just don't. Like,
You do
So,
look,
you know,
you
I don't
look cheat up every picture I see. I'm like, yeah, that man is cheat up, but he's not. He's cheat up on life. Can you imagine?
it's hard to imagine.
So
It really is.
I,
13-year-old me would have kicked the shit out.
well, yeah, right. You'd be like, what are you doing? Would you beat up your older? Do you think you'd beat up your younger self? Kind of just like put on a mask and kick the shit out of him and be like, get back in school.
Yeah.
100%.
I don't know. Like, you know, like people always ask that question. And, you know, I have conversations with a buddy at work about, you know, pretty like heavy shit.
Yeah.
And, you know, we kind of get into these like complex conversations like that. You know, I think like I want to say like, yeah, I would kick the shit out of myself and tell myself to do this and do that. But like, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, if you were to do that, you're changing the course of your life that it's at now. And where I'm at now, you know, I'm not rolling in dough or like, you know, rich off of my ass and or whatever, you know, but I am happy. And, you know, that's good enough. Like,
Well, that's worth all the money in the world, realistically. Like, if we're going to look at it, the time I had the most money, I was the least happy. And the time I've had the least money, I've been the most happy. And I know that sucked, but I made good with it. And now when I'm, like, comfortable, I'm like, wow, my life's pretty fucking cool.
Oh, yeah. And, like, you know, it is weird, though, you know, because, you know, a lot of us poor people and, you know, we like to say that, you know, this and that, but you know, yeah, sure. I mean, you know, if I was making $100,000 a year in Michigan, pretty wealthy at that point, and yeah, my quality of life is probably better. I think it has a lot to do with like the choices that you make and what you choose to do with your overall state of happiness.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't equate money equals happiness or money can buy happiness, and you know. I don't really agree with that, but I also do agree with that.
They got these ribs near me called at Caveman Kitchen. Fall off the bone. Fucking huge. It's $30 for 6 of them. Not 12. Whole rack is 6. But that's a little bit of happiness right there. But it's momentary and fleeting. And I love food, you know, I love food, and, you know, I love food, but it's so momentary. And then I'm like, well, God damn it. Why the fuck did you Uber Eats that? You just spent $15 more, you piece of shit. Like,
yeah, that Uber Eats is crazy, but go on.
No, just in general, the momentary happiness is filled. But dude, this meal, I've got fucking food for the next 2 days. You know what I mean? This sauce is going to be great. Sure. It took me an hour. I was watching TV. Wasn't doing shit. I'm watching this new show, Top Boy. If you haven't seen it, it's on the Netflix. Holy shit. People sell drugs in London, current time. Very London heavy on the slang. Sometimes I don't even know what they're saying, and I play with the UK people all the time. But anyways, this meal will feed me for more time than I could have ordered something similar from a joint, a single serving, for twice the money. Dude, I had almost all of the ingredients, and then I looked at how much I had to spend today. $6. For like some broth, some fucking egg, nothing. This was dirt cheap. And I am, my heart is full. My soul is, you know, replenished from this meal. So, you know, having that much money and being able to order whatever you want, it's dope. But I never feel like, wow, that was a really good fucking, you know, order from that place I could have walked to. I've never been fulfilled. Sure. I'm just like, oh, I'm busy, or, you know, I'm drunk, or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? I also don't have a whip, so that's my fault. But outside of that, you know, yep.
I think there's a good point in that, and you know that it's not the money that is buying you this dish, and it's about the memory that you create with and like associate with it. And at that point, like, you know, paying for a meal like that becomes worth it, even though, you know, even if you might not have, you know, enough money, but if it makes you happy in that moment, I do think it's important to do those kinds of things. You know, I mean,
a treat yourself mentality.
Yeah. Like, you know, for instance, me and the fiance, we went to Florida for my birthday. We were out on an island somewhere in the Gulf. It's pretty cool, pretty awesome, right? And I loved every minute of it. Every part of that vacation was phenomenal. But the thing that I remember the most, and the thing that it's just the flat out best part of the experience, is going to the restaurant that's on the beach, and my toes are dug in the sand.
Jesus.
And sunsets happening, and you can see the sun just sink down through the water. And while all the while, I swordfish steak, and just the plating and the presentation of it was just so phenomenal, and easily one of the best, best all around dishes I've had in a very, very, very long time. But it wasn't about the spending the money on this. It was more expensive than any other restaurant that we went to, but that didn't really matter. What mattered was what I felt in that moment. And it was wow, here she is, she's taking me to this wonderful, awesome place in the middle of an island, and we're watching the sunset and eating good food, and it's just, that is priceless. So if you're questioning whether or not oh well, money doesn't buy happiness, or or money does buy happiness, or I think there's good points to both of those. And for me personally, I get a lot of that positive satisfaction from making memories. And oftentimes eating good food is associated with making good memories.
I think in these scenarios, you want to say, I always say this, it's one of my nihilistic bullshit traits I've acquired. It's money isn't real, we made it up. And granted, sure, there's bills. I'm paying my bills. I'm paying rent. We're doing basics, but after that, money isn't real, bro. It just do the best thing you can do with it. If you want to order Taco Bell, don't. You will regret it in the evening. But I've been doing more about, so on my other podcast, a shameless plug, on my other podcast, I've been doing what's a memorable thing you've eaten this week, what's a restaurant you've gone to. So I'm trying to go to different joints around my city because I don't explore out. So I just hop on a bus and it takes me somewhere. And then when I see somewhere I want, I get off at the next stop. Sometimes it takes 20 minutes. Sometimes I'm on the bus for 40 minutes and people are like, is he on drugs? He just keeps cracking out, looking out the window. But I go to a restaurant, I try it out. I spend $40. I call it a day. That $40 is way better than the $40 I would have ordered McDonald's with. You know what I mean?
It's totally tangible. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, it's silly, but
here's the flip side to that coin is, okay, cool. We spent quite a bit at this restaurant to get this experience, and that experience, I'm going to carry it with me for the rest of my life. But also, here the flip side, I can remember being in Seattle for a couple weeks. I was walking down by the pier, right?
Yeah,
just Pike Marketplace,
yeah,
right? So right below Pike Marketplace, there's the pier and stuff like that, and you can walk along, and you get to the amusement, Ferris wheel and all that shit's over there. Yeah. I was walking along, and all of a sudden, I smell something. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I just followed my nose until I got to this little tiny cart. And, a dude is sitting there shucking oysters from a bucket that he just pulled up out of the water, and shucking the oysters right into the fryer and, dishing them out for $5. And, that $5 was one of the best $5 purchases I've ever made in my life. It's a memory that I carry with me forever. I think, eating good food, equates to memory, like creating memories.
Yeah, I'm trying not to lick my plate right now. I 100% feel that, bro. Like,
and that's, like people like, rest his soul, Anthony Bourdain,
God bless.
big idol of mine. And, he very much believed in that same thing. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter how much money you spend. You spend $1,000 on the dinner, spend $5 on the dinner. Who cares? What cares is, what matters is, if you're eating that good food and you're surrounded by friends and, or you're in a new place and you're exploring new things and trying new things. I think that's more, important than really anything, right?
Like we need sustenance as like a base level of survival, but make it fashion. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like,
yeah, I guess
where I was at is like, I'm not enjoying the food I'm eating when I'm ordering it most of the time, unless I order from a dank restaurant and then I spend too much money and I'm an idiot. But even there, I just want to experience it in the place. Like, there's this place called Mary's down the hill. There's two of them. They're both M's. I don't care. One of them's down the hill. One of them's next to my work. But The one down the street, or the one down the hill, is just, it's a loke spot. Like, literally, there was a table of like 6, like, geriatric folk. And like one walked in and it was like, "Hey, Marv." And they're like, "Hey." It was like, holy shit, this is like the bar, but like the brunch spot. You know what I mean? Like, and the food was fire, came out quick. I could see the chefs making my food. They didn't spit in it. You know what I mean? It was like just a loke place, and I loved it. And then I got the bill. I was like, holy shit, this is 2 meals under 50 with a cookie. Big ass cookie they make fresh. Oh my God, forget about it. You know what I mean? Like, that's bomb. That's,
and you'll probably remember that.
100%. No, it was a great experience.
You'll probably remember that experience. Like, I think at the end of the day, I think if you're gonna, agree or disagree with, money is the root of all evil, or money does buy happiness, or whatever, like, realistically, money buys you those experiences. And that's what I value. I value the experience over the cost. You can travel anywhere on a budget. You can eat anywhere on a budget, but sometimes it's more than that.
Yeah.
It's creating that experience for yourself, or, for your friends or your family, whether or not you go out to eat or you cook at home. It's the experience. I think in that way, food brings people together. Whether or not it's even by yourself, like, you can connect with yourself that way too. Like what you're doing is like taking yourself out on dates, essentially, right? Like, that's part of that whole treat yourself mentality, right?
Yeah, no, that's why I started this podcast, is because I knew that I wasn't a very confident cook. And if I take recipes from all across the world and have to make them, dude, I need to start. I'm doing it for a Patreon. I know that I'm making a Patreon because I'm going to do behind the scenes of me cooking, because it's me freaking the fuck out for like 2 hours. It's me absolutely losing my shit. There's nothing, every time I'm making someone's recipe, it's me losing my goddamn mind. I made turkey, a turkey with pre-made sauce, but then I doctored the sauce, and there was a recipe. It was a whole thing. But my friend, with my friend Colin, the last episode, I made this very simple spaghetti recipe, and the entire time I'm just, oh man, it's just me running around this very small kitchen, freaking the fuck out. So I'm gonna set up my laptop or set up a camera when I get one, and just record me losing my mind. Because I was so stressed out.
In the background laughing.
Yeah, no, Hobbs and Dory coming up and rubbing against my legs like, meow, meow. And they're like, are you okay?
Dude, you're fucking this up, man.
Yeah, like, but No, I was really worried about this one because I was like, I don't know what the fuck. You got to take the chicken out. You got to put the chicken back in. God damn, there's so much going on, and it's not. It's very simple, but I wanted to make it perfect, or at least as good as I could make it with my own hands. And now that I have this experience, I'm like, oh, I could do this with anything. I could do this with any sauce. And make like a beef thing or make like a pork thing or something. Like, wow, cooking's really easy.
Yeah. I mean, ironically enough, like that is the basis of most cooking, right? Like
put in, take out, put in, season, take out, put in.
Sure. I mean, and so I was trained by a classically trained French chef.
Oh, for sure.
So, he taught me pretty much everything I know about cooking, but also, one of the first like golden rules that I learned from him is, make something that you would, right? So it doesn't really matter like what you put in it or, like obviously you can fuck up a recipe and like just really go out of left field and ruin the whole dish taste wise. But, like that presentation and, that being worried, like you said, about, fucking up a dish and you want it to be perfect, that goes through every cook's brain more often than not, because like cooking is there's a certain sense of like pride behind it. And, that's how you weed out the good cooks versus the bad cooks. The good cooks have a lot of pride in their work, because they almost treat it like an art form. And, that sense of like, it must be perfect. That's very much like that directly translates for me, like as a musician and a songwriter. And, I'll sit there and re-record something 48,000 times before I'm like, it's perfect. You know what I mean? But it's the same feeling where, you're like, you have that pride in your work and you want your work to be reflective of you as a person. And, that shows in the final result, because you look at you right here, you cooked this dish up. You had no idea what this was, right? Like, and, next thing you know, you're worried, you're cooking, am I going to fuck this up? And then boom, you taste it. And you're like, everything just goes right away.
No, I literally plated it up immediately and was like, meet up, link up. Like I was done. I threw the things on top. I'm like, I'm not wasting any more time. This is delicious. The sauce will thicken up. This is delicious. It's done. It's cooked. Like, I'm done. I could have, could I have done XYZ? Did I brown the chicken enough? No, I don't know. But we moving, and I am blown away.
Yeah.
I did. Also, there's a bunch of little specks. Well, I know this is the flour, so I didn't stir it in gradually. I just dumped the whole cream mixture into it and then whisked it.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, no.
Right.
So it was little specks of the flour, but the sauce didn't pick it up. But I know that for next time.
Yeah.
So you said you went to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. Do you often go to Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments? And have you ever won one?
I haven't won one, but these things are like, they're pretty big. I'm going to one, it's called a YCS, basically their flagship event.
Okay.
They have, X amount of them per year. The closest one to me is in Indianapolis. So I'll be going down there October like 20th. 21st.
For sure.
Staying down there for a couple days, go to the event. These things are big. There's, 2,000 people there,
Jesus.
type of thing.
That's a lot.
You got to be just insane at the game to get that far. And I've only, I used to play way back in the day, like every kid that grew up in the 2000s probably did.
Yeah. I played
the
Yu-Gi-Oh.
schoolyard rules. Yeah. And,
well, you could put down as many cards as you wanted. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. And, now like it's a totally different game now. There's all sorts of different boss monsters and things that you can do in the game that it's just absolutely wild. And there's so many interactions that you have to know. And if you don't know them, you're just kind of cooked.
For sure.
So haven't won one yet, but, I've only really been playing seriously for like 2 years or something like that.
Okay, so you got back into it, so you're kind of building up your deck, getting what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of decks now at this point. I've kind of gone a little crazy with it, but yeah, essentially. I'm an all or nothing kind of guy, man. Once I get into something, I'm into it. You know, I want to learn everything I can about it and try out everything, have fun with it, you know? So yeah, no, I'm going to go to the event down there, spend a couple days down there. Should be pretty fun. We're Airbnb with a bunch of the guys that are, we all, you know, so we go to the same local store every week to play like locals tournaments. We'll be representing the store down there. We all got like team shirts.
Oh, hell yeah.
Stuff like, so yeah, it'll be pretty cool, you know, be a part of like a team and kind of just see what we can all do down there, you know? So looking pretty fun, kind of excited about it.
I wanted to finish off with, you started a company. And, you know, I know you were talking about it. I would like to hear a little bit more about it.
Sure, yeah. So it's still very much in the infancy stage. You know, even then, I'm still not exactly sure what I want to do with it and or where to take it. But it is a disc golf store. It's called Michigan Disc Golf Supply Company.
And these will all be linked in the bio for him. So
right now at the moment, you know, it's pretty much we're just me in my spare room, you know, buying discs, selling discs. I mean, you know, and, you know, I like the idea of it, you know, but I need to like think more about what I want to do with it and how to differentiate myself versus, you know, competitors, branch out into, you know, different avenues, kind of separate myself from the space of competition. So not exactly sure where I'm going with it, but I am doing it. So, you know, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, still very much in its infancy. At this point, it's pretty small operation.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you started something and you're doing something. What is it? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. I think you're like 20, 30 steps in, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, I'm trying. Yeah.
Well, Swerve, it has been awesome. I'm going to feed my roommate some of this and he is going to cry, hopefully. And thank you so much for coming to the table. Where can people find you if you want them to find you as far as the Michigan goes, or any other projects you want to shout out while you're here?
You know, I don't know, man. I'm on Instagram, DL36. Follow me there. I'm not really an interesting person, but go ahead.
And also root for him October 20th in Indianapolis.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
All right.